Take 4. Take 5. Take 6. Take 7. Hey everyone! Aku tengah macam ni kau
Aku ingat kau nak buat intro.
1, 2, 3.
Hey everyone! Welcome to our M&E Meetup! Woo! So today we have our very special...
You look pretty today. Have you posted yourself on Instagram yet?
I mean, I usually use it like to see trends and like occasionally I post myself, but not that much. Why? I guess, it's like I feel like a bit like insecure and I see like all these celebrities are like, my gosh, she's so pretty, and I'm just there like,
Why?
I don't know.
So that's what we're trying to understand today. The comparison trap. This emotional cost of social media comparison among young adults.
Yes, that is our very big topic today, our podcast. And before we get into that, I'm Anastasia.
I'm Anati.
And we have our very special guest, Christy.
You guys can make sound, you know.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Christy?
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Christy to all the audience and also everyone here. So I'm a registered counselor. I have been practicing. I got my license this year, beginning of this year. Yeah, and I'm a counseling student also from Unimas. So technically, I'm everyone's senior here. Actually, I started doing counseling as a volunteer counselor ever since my second year. So it's around like 2022. So I'm very active with NGOs, especially Mental Health Association Sarawak. And currently, I'm a freelancer. I'm doing locum with Teduh Jiwa mainly.
First of all, I just want to thank you so much for being here. It's truly an honor to have you here with us to talk about social comparison. So we will start with the first question. Christy, as a counselor, what are some of the most common issues that you've noticed, especially like among young adults, especially regarding like social comparison in social media?
So like the cases that I receive mostly, I think if for young adults, you can categorize it within, like teenagers, and also maybe within those that are in university, as long as they're below 30s lah. And I think that if we talk about like teenagers, most of them like they tend to have like this FOMO. Yeah, and they know that situation very well because they will tell me, I think I'm experiencing FOMO, which is fear of missing out. And then so the difference is that even though the young adults, like, the 20s and above, they also experience FOMO, but then it's like in different ways. So I think we can categorize it as like, it depends on like the part, your journey in life, and also maybe your peers, like people around you. So in general, those that I work with, like teenagers, right, they usually talk about like, I wish that I can look like the celebrities. Yeah, or look like their friends. Yeah. Even like young adults, especially female, I realize those that is like in university. Yeah, they will talk about like, they are usually conscious about, their face is not being flawless, right? And then I remember I have like this one client telling me that she tried everything to like, to combat the acne, but it just doesn't work for her. And then like, it made her feel very, very like insecure to even reveal her face online. Yeah. So like she tell me that she never really posts her pictures because she always feel ashamed of herself. Yeah. So I think this is very common like comparison now when it comes to female, and then it's always about the appearance and also maybe lifestyle. When lifestyle, it's more common among the working adults, especially those that are maybe, they just graduated and they're not really working, and then they saw like their other peers getting a job, and then they will feel like they don't know what they are doing in their life right now. They feel lost. Yeah, because like some of them, they think that getting a job means that you're kind of successful in that, and it's like a milestone, right? Yeah. And then it could be like, getting a job, you're getting your own money. So like they wish for that financial stability, and then like because of that, they feel kind of like inferior towards their peers. Yeah, they will always say that, I wish that I can be like my peers, they have their own job, but then I seems like I cannot find a job. I interview everywhere, but then nothing, and they feel kind of lost. Yeah, so like all in all, I think that yeah, we can say that, if on when it comes to online and when it comes to like young adults, mostly just fear of missing out. Like they're looking at the peers and then they think like, am I doing not enough? Why can I not be like that?
So basically, I think we've talked about this before we start. So basically, social comparison is just a more, what they call, educated term of FOMO, fear of missing out. So, and we also talk about before we start just now, because we were setting things up, and then it's also concern about it's not exactly the time spent online, but it's more about how we use the social media. So like for me, I use my social media just to way of staying updated with my friends and see how others live, and I don't really take social media too seriously, and I don't even know how to use it actually, honestly. So I don't exactly relate to this topic as much. I mean, I do understand, but for personal experience, I don't really have it lah. So like, what for you as a counselor? Do you use social media as well?
Oh yes, I do. I actually started doing, replaying social media last year, I think.
Replay. What does replay?
So I was very active on social media. I think before I started my degree, yeah, I was very active. I'm a chronically online user. Yeah, and it gotten like, even I guess my social media addiction gotten even worse during pandemic, because I had nothing else to do, and then like I cannot meet my friend, and that's where I like kind of like post everything. Yeah, but then when I got into my degree, I feel like being on social media, it's kind of like making me not so productive. And I realized I have that comparison too, but then my comparison is like very negative. So I experience like feeling like, why are people so beautiful online? Like, why are people so successful online? Like, what did they do? Like, why am I not like that? I feel very like insecure, and I feel not enough. And that is where like I decided to stop using social media at all. I deleted my Instagram, I deleted my Facebook, I deleted basically everything. I just have WhatsApp for school, uni, right?
You deleted everything before degree or during degree?
During degree, yeah, somehow I have like that. I don't know if it's a breakthrough or what, but I just have that thoughts, right? I'm thinking, oh, social media is so bad, and I just delete everything. But then after that, when I started using it again, I realized I don't really have the perception that, people are doing better than me, which is like what you're experiencing right now. I started thinking like, it's just funny. I just see some stuff and I think like, oh, it's relatable. Or like sometimes I feel like, oh, I can learn from this person. Yeah, so I realized that it's very different. Yeah, very different like comparison. If we feel like, we're not enough just from viewing that one posting. Let's say someone just posts about their achievement, LinkedIn banyak, right? My friend even call it.
I'm like, wow, this person like so much. Like I'm like, yeah, so like, they never posted so long. I'm like, wow, and I see like people like competitions after competitions. It's like, I guess like what it ties back to what you guys said. It's like how you use it, right? It's like your perception is like you have to put in this like mind battle, like this mind helmet protection before you see social media, before you use social media. It's like, okay, I shouldn't compare myself. Like, okay, I'm just going to use it, like I'm just going to see their achievements and I'm going to applaud them, so, and I'm just going to use it like as a, I guess like a stepping stone. It's like to, like what you said, like how to, you want to be like them, but it's not like you are comparing yourselves in a negative way.
Yeah. But that is very hard to do, right?
It is.
That is the question actually. It's like we always say, right? Yeah, just don't compare yourself. Like, you are different than other people. We have our own journey. But in reality, it's very hard to not compare. It always happens, right? So that is the thing that we're trying to solve every time. Yeah. So like when I talk about this to my clients, right, and also like based on my own personal experience, it really comes down to like how do we actually talk to ourselves. You realize, right, when it comes to like, downward social comparison, it's always like we kind of like criticizing ourselves. You just see that one post and then suddenly we feel like we're not enough. That is the problem. And like from my own experience, when like I talk to like my clients about it, usually it stems from our previous life experience. Yeah. So like if we talk about like the girl earlier that she felt very insecure just because she has acne, when you know in reality acne is very, very normal. Right? Especially when we're like growing, you know, young adults, puberty, and then like so our hormones like fluctuating, especially for women. It's very normal. Yeah. Even though she know about that, but somehow she still feel like it's not enough.
I think the issue started from our environment, obviously. Yeah, it's just like you mentioned. There's her teacher that said something negative about her, and then their encouragement. And then social media is something unavoidable in today, right? You have your smartphone, you have internet. So somehow you're eventually going to open like Instagram, like TikTok, and it's not like at first it could be not your intention to find those kind of contents, but eventually you yearn to look at those kind of content because like that's what you want, right? It goes back to the social comparison theory. I'm glad you mentioned just now because it's one of our theory that we want to discuss in this podcast, the social comparison theory. He also mentioned there's upward and downward. So just to explain a little bit for the viewers lah. So like there's two ways how we compare ourselves is upwards comparison and downwards. Upwards, it's like when we see someone and we see them as someone's like better off than us. And then downward is like when we see them, oh, they're worse off than us. In this case, in this theory, like based on your experience or if you could share any stories, like how often people do social comparison to feel good about themselves, or is it more often that they use social comparison to become a better person for themselves?
Wow, this is a very challenging question. Yeah, I think it really depends on the person, you know. There's no like an absolute answer to say which one is which. Because if we want to talk about like the percentage, whether people use downward more or people use upward more, it's really very, how to say? You can't really give an exact answer. So everyone is different. And we have to think about like, you know, growth aspect as well, right? Some people, they maybe come from the place where they feel really insecure at first, but then after they know how to like, you know, control it, and then they're like, oh, then they can change it, right? But then like I think in Asian culture we tend to see it more like, you know, downward, even though like our parents wish it was upward cut. Because like in my own experience, I went to Chonghua and I realized the comparison was always pretty unhealthy. And I think it's like how like, you know, like the adults also, like how do they really approach that when it comes to comparison? If they like compare, you know, they said it, okay, like you see, you know, your classmate are getting like, you know, good grades. But what should you say to your child to make it like, you know, more positive? We say that, oh, you know, you try to ask them what did they do, how did they study, where do they go usually, what, you know, which tuition center. That is a more positive way, more encouraging. But then I remember from my own experience lah, my teacher would be like, you see, she get like, it's just a mock exam way. You see, she get like 5A. Cause for us, we need to get 7A ma. You see, she get like 5A. You think that's enough? So like now when I think about it, I'm like, maybe there's a better way that we can do as an adult, you know. Maybe like for them, that's just how they grew up, you know, so they don't know better. So, you know, they use that way to like educate us, but it's not really doing any good lah.
If you guys are comparing yourself, right? Have you ever hit the point where it disrupts your emotions?
Oh yeah, definitely. So when I think back before I decided to delete all my social media, I got to a point where I feel like it's getting in me, you know, like just looking at like, you know, anyone, even though I know them or even though I don't know them, I just feel really down after looking at, you know, every time I open Instagram and I just feel down. Yeah, and then like I think at that time TikTok just started, right? And then like it's even worse. Yeah, it's even worse for me at that time because with all the filters, and then I'm thinking like, why should I be so pressed about it? And it just filter. It's not real. I don't know like their life, but at the same time I still feel like it kind of gets into me. I just feel like I'm not perfect. I'm not pretty enough. Like how can like they get viral so fast just because they look pretty? Like what is not enough with me that I cannot do the same thing, right? Yeah. So I get to that point. But then like now when I think about it, right, it's more like like why did that happen to me? I think it's because of my own insecurity as well. Yeah. I think that we don't really dare, for me myself, right, I don't really have anyone to talk to about it. I tend to keep it to myself, so I feel that, you know, it's the feeling of like I feel like I'm going through that alone.
Oh yeah. That's like one of the toughest, especially like, you know, social, as you mentioned before, like using social media during COVID-19, was it? It gets very like lonely. And then like you see people, and then you see people are doing so well, and it's like you want to be like that, but that you right now there's like a gap. So I guess like that term is like the theory is like self-discrepancy. Yeah. So that is also like one of the theories that we are looking into. So what do you think about like that idea of using social media, and we are comparing ourselves to these influencers who we wish we want to be like that, and then we are at this stage. It's like between that self-discrepancy, like this actual gap, this emotional gap.
Human real self, it's like it's always evolving. Okay. So like sometimes maybe even in this stage of life, we're actually still exploring ourselves. We don't know what we want. Okay. So if there's like social comparison theories come in, if we, let's say we have that FOMO, right? We thought that we want that just because everyone has it. But we didn't think about like, do we really want that?
What should we need at the what we need at the
Exactly. Yeah, we oftentimes don't think about that. What should we need for ourselves at that time? You know, not just for like, maybe, you know, sometimes we want to be validated by everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then we forgot that we have to validate ourselves also. Yeah. So like that's the term I mean, if you don't love yourself, how can you love anyone else, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we often forgot like what we should do for ourselves. Not like what we want to do just to please others. That's the thing that we always like confused about lah. And it's like sometimes kind of do it like unconsciously as well.
That's true.
It's usually unconscious. I think when you have the thoughts, unconscious is more dangerous than when you are conscious of that thoughts. Because when you're conscious, at least you're very aware of what the current state of you are. Like, so you know when to stop. Like, I mean, it's different case lah, when you know you have to stop, but you can't stop, and versus when you don't even know that you have to stop doing this comparison. Earlier you mentioned that at some point after you relapse, redoing the Instagram, the social media, replaying the social media. I want to ask, like, at what point, like, how did you get to that point? Like before you shared that, oh, it gets to you deep, and at some point, like, what made you feel like, oh, I can start playing and not feel what I used to felt anymore?
Okay, so like funny thing is when I started Instagram, right, it's because I need something to cope. Yeah, so I was going through like tough time at that time. So I feel very alone as well, right? And then I'm thinking like, oh, what should I do? So I started playing Instagram, right?
Is this before?
Was this like after I stopped? After I stopped social media.
Yeah.
So like in return, I'm actually using Instagram to help me to cope with like my hurdles. It's pretty weird, right? Yeah. But then that's when I realized that I don't really compare myself to like the people, you know, on social media anymore.
Yeah.
And it's more like at that time I'm just relating to the post that is like there's like, you know, what am I experiencing at that time? Yeah, like the memes. And sometimes it's like, you know, like how like, you know, the heartbreak quotes and everything. That's where I feel like I'm more relatable with. Yeah, as compared to like, you know, like, oh, maybe the beauty stuff. No, I don't think about it anymore. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying like, you know, it really depends on like what you're going through at that time also, or like your life stages. And I think the most important is also we tend to like, if it's negative, right, we tend to want to like just throw it away. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like,
So it's like, so when I went to like this mindfulness class, I was taught that accepting doesn't mean that we just take in the positive. Accepting means that we do not eliminate the negative. So let's say if someone experienced like trauma.
Yeah.
Okay, let's say maybe for me, okay, my personal experience, I did not come with like a perfect family. I come from a broken family. But it was very hard for me to accept it. Actually, I think I started accepting it maybe like last year. I started my therapy, and then maybe the half month of this year, beginning of this year, I started accepting that okay, my family wasn't perfect and I wasn't raised right. So a lot of negligence happened. So at that time, I'm actually like dealing a lot with, I think, resentment towards my family. Because I think that, it is your responsibility to raise me right, because I didn't ask to be born.
Yeah.
And then like after that I realized that, like holding this resentment is painful for me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that I have the resentment is because I cannot accept that I have a family that is irresponsible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's where I started to, like trying to accept, the flows that happened before, the neglect that I experienced from my parents. And then, yeah, that's why I can like finally like, move on and say that, yeah, I come from a broken family without even tearing up.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, otherwise before I would like tear up. Yeah.
See, from what I understand, I guess the realistic way to cope with social comparison, social media comparison, those kind of things, is to keep asking why, and then find answer to that why. Like you said, why am I comparing to this person? Why do I choose this person? What made me compare me to them? And at some point, I believe you understand that considering their circumstances, their conditions, it's natural for them to have certain things, and it's natural for you not to have certain things. And it's okay, because they have nothing to do with your lives, and you have your own life to settle on.
I think that's a very nice way to sum it up. But then maybe like instead of like, asking that why, it should be more to like asking of what.
Why?
Yeah. Because sometimes we ask too much why, right? It will become like a cycle. Why is it like this? Why is it like that? See, it's very hard for us to identify the cause sometimes, right? When we ask what, our main thing is to identify like what is happening in that moment. What are you confused about? And sometimes we don't really have answer right away. So it's okay to not have answer. Yeah, true. Because remember during my recovery as well, I was looking for answer for like such a long time, like why did my parents do that? See, asking why, right? Why did my parents do that? Why did they neglect me? But then I figured out that it just, no matter how many times I ask, I just won't get the answer. I just won't get the closure. So I just have to be fine with that closure. Yeah. So really it's like asking, like, you just have to like what you said, right? Like, check in and then bring back that energy back to yourself instead of focusing on like the situations or like the person.
So it's like you have to take the initiative to like step out of that thought of probably like maybe accepting the way that life is already. So is that like one of the ways that for us to cope, especially like the audience, for them to cope?
Yeah, it's like accepting is like one thing, but another thing is taking a break.
Oh,
Yeah, it's okay to take a break and it's okay to pause. Nothing wrong about that. Yeah, with time, that's how you can process and accept. Yeah, but if you keep on like running away from it, you see like this thing and you know that it's a problem, but you keep scrolling through, it will always be a constant cycle. No break in between, right? Yeah, that is the problem actually.
Oh, so okay. So let's say like it's like social media is like a coping mechanism that's like not good in a sense. It's like from what you are saying, like based on experience, like one of the ways that they could cope is instead of running away from the emotion and using social media, but instead they face it head on first sit with their emotions and take the initiative to just like go through with it and let it like cry it out and maybe seek help. Is that one of the ways that you are saying?
Yeah, you sum it up perfectly. Yeah.
I think when we talk things through, I realized it's not really about social media. It came back to ourselves and what kind of problem we're having at the moment, and how social media has become an ally to that problem that had made the social media a problem when it's actually not social media. And also the algorithm as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like you said, macam, after you play everything, you find yourself that maybe after we open one thing, let's say quote, and then the algorithm will keep giving you more quotes. So actually, in a way, social media can also something that help you, rather than something that you need to compare to. So it depends on you how you use it. It's really...
I think that is the thing, right? We talk about like comparison back then without that constant, like swiping through, internet and everything. We only focus on our life. People are surrounding us, right? Yeah. So what we see, so it's just that. And then if we compare, it's like we actually see like their whole life. All right. Yeah. But when it comes to social media, it's like we only see part of the life that they want to post, right? And the thing is, the person that creates social media and the algorithm, right? The point is that they want our engagement, right? And what spark our engagement is actually relatability. Yeah, so that's how they actually trick our brain to think that I find this person relatable, but actually it's not. Yeah, so I think that's where our unconscious plays in, I'm experiencing maybe heartbreak problem, and then I see this person has a loving relationship, instantly I'll feel triggered. Yeah, so I think that's where it comes from. It's just now we have to learn how to live with social media, and then we don't really have that skill to know when to know that that is what it's designed for. So actually what you pointed out earlier, it's how it doesn't really affect you because of your usage. I think that comes from boundary management as well. Not only in social media, maybe in our personal life. We know what to take in and we know what not to take in. Which is if we go back to the service currency, it's what you should do instead. That is beneficial for your actual self.
So in terms of boundary, is it one of the ways that they can use as a coping mechanism as well? What kind of boundaries are they?
So when it comes to social media, you can choose okay, today what do I want to see? When you start to feel overwhelmed already, then it's time to stop. That's boundary management. You don't okay, that when you're I feel overwhelmed already, and you continue to take in. See, you just keep buying, and then that's where it will accumulate as well. Yeah, you need to stop, and then you need to pause for a bit. Maybe just talk to your friend. You can still use social media, but just talk to your friend. Just look at the reels that your friend send you.
Back to brain right now.
Yeah, back to brain rot, back to doing what you like to do. Wow. Yeah, that is also a self-soothing. Want it or not, it's self-soothing. It's so true. So I think boundary plays a role in that. You have the choice to choose what you want and what you don't want.
That's a great. I think that's a great way to cope.
It's very realistic. I mean, it sounds unrealistic because of how hard it is to control ourselves. But actually, when you think and think and think, in the end, it's actually the most realistic way to handle the problem of comparing itself to other people.
Because let's say it's not just because of having social media that caused the comparison. No.
You will have other people outside. So
yeah, even in real life, you really cannot control, your insecurity, or sometimes they coin that term as jealousy, right? It's really hard for you to move on with your life as well, because you will just keep on thinking what is wrong with you. And that negative emotions, if you don't resolve it, it will always be there.
I think that's all. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Because we're going to minum after this. Alright. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Come back to
and
E.
Nirita.